It began on a dry, sunburned afternoon in Ouagadougou. The heat shimmered off the pavement like restless spirits, and the crowd gathered in the open-air square was thick with anticipation. They weren't here for a concert or a parade, they were here for him. Ibrahim Traoré, the young, defiant captain whose name had become a whispered prayer and a shouted battle cry in the streets. I was standing near the back, my camera hanging from my neck. When the moment happened, it wasn't planned. No one saw her coming. A small figure, no more than 9 years old, stepped out from between the legs of two grown men. She wore a faded yellow dress that had probably once been bright as the sun, and her braids bounced lightly as she walked. The crowd stirred, murmurs passing from one face to the next, but no one stopped her. She walked straight toward the stage, her bare feet silent against the cracked ground, and there, under the harsh white glare of the midday sun, she looked up at the man who had reshaped a nation's heartbeat. Her voice was small but steady. "Captain, do you believe in Jesus?" For a moment, time itself seemed to hold its breath. The crowd froze. Even the soldiers flanking the stage shifted uneasily, their eyes darting to their commander. No one asked questions like that here, not in public. Not to him. The microphone in front of him picked up a faint hiss from the wind. Ibrahim Traoré's face was still, unreadable. His dark eyes locked on the little girl, studying her as if weighing not just her words, but the place they came from. Around me, whispers flared. Some laughed nervously. Others muttered sharp warnings to each other, as if the very question might invite trouble, and then, finally, he spoke. "What is your name, little one?" "Miriam," she said, clutching the hem of her dress. "Miriam," he repeated softly, like a man tasting the weight of a word. "And why do you ask me this?" Her eyes did not waver. "Because my mama says Jesus is the only one who can save us, but the people here, they say you will." Gasps fluttered through the crowd like startled birds. I felt my own chest tighten. The air seemed heavier, charged. Ibrahim looked away for the briefest moment, scanning the crowd as if searching for the mother. "Is your mama here?" he asked. Miriam nodded, pointing to a woman at the far edge of the square. The woman's face was pale with worry, her hands gripping the scarf around her neck. Traoré leaned forward slightly, the microphone catching the faint creak of his uniform. "Miriam, I am not Jesus. I am just a man. And a man can make mistakes." The crowd shifted, an audible ripple of surprise. But he wasn't done. "Do you know what I believe, Miriam?" She shook her head. "I believe," he said slowly, his voice deep and deliberate, "that truth does not belong to one man or even to one book. I believe truth is like the sun. It shines on all people, whether they see it or not." He paused. Let the silence press in. "Your Jesus," he continued, "taught love, didn't he?" "Yes," she whispered. "Then if I do not love my people, I have nothing. And if I love my people, but do not fight for them, I am lying." The soldiers exchanged glances. Some in the crowd nodded slowly. "So tell your mama this," he said, his eyes never leaving the little girl's face. "Tell her, I am not here to replace her Jesus. I am here to make sure her children are free enough to follow him, or not, without fear." The square was silent, utterly silent. You could hear the faint rustle of a flag in the wind. Then, from somewhere in the back, a single pair of hands began to clap. Another joined, and another, until the sound rolled forward like a wave breaking against the shore. Miriam smiled, a small, almost shy thing, and stepped back into the sea of legs and dust, but the echo of that moment, it didn't leave, not that day. Not for weeks after. I would hear men in the market murmuring about it, their voices low but bright with something like pride. I would see women in doorways shaking their heads, not in disapproval, but in awe, because in a country where words could be weapons, that man had chosen to speak like a healer, and whether you agreed with him or not, you could not forget it. Months later, I passed the same square. The stage was gone, the crowd was gone, but I remembered the heat, the silence, the way a little girl's question had turned the air into glass, and I thought, maybe that's the real power. Not speeches, not armies, not flags, just the courage to ask and the courage to answer.